I got a funny feeling. I got a funny feeling. Yeah.
Hello, people. I'm Jaby KOAY, joined by the one and only Davis. And you may know him from the, my throat just popped because I'm so nervous. Okay, so you may know him from music that has been featured on this channel multiple times. And if you're watching this on the American channel, then you know his music from Far Cry 5, right? That's where it was.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Thanks for having me, by the way.
Yeah, of course,
Appreciate
man.
it,
Of course.
yeah.
I'm happy to have you. You hit me up and you're like, hey, do you ever have, you know, a musician guest? I'm like, dude, I'll have you. That's awesome. That sounds like a fun time.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I love like what you did, you know, as far as the intro song and using different songs on your channel of mine. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, at least I could do is meet you and just like chat it up.
Dude, I'm so happy. So I got a bunch of questions here. Number one is, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Riverside, California, which is kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of by San Bernardino.
Okay.
And yeah, just right by like UCR. For
Okay.
any people, shout out to college students at UCR.
And how long have you been at the game of putting your art out there?
Oh man, since junior high, so I've had different bands in one form or another, you know, since I was a little kid. But Davis, this project started, I think I dropped the first single in early 2016.
Okay.
So this project, yeah, it's been a few years, but yeah, it's been fun. I mean, it's been a crazy evolution of influences and it just keeps going, you know?
When did you first pick up a guitar?
Oh, that was when I was a little kid. I was 12, so definitely like junior high. And it was because, you know, like most kids out there, you hear Nirvana, you hear the Strokes, you know, and you just get like so stoked and inspired that it's like guitar just seems so cool.
Right,
You know?
right.
I didn't even want to be a singer. I just wanted to be a guitar player. Because like I looked at like, again, like guys like, you know, in the Strokes, like Nick Valenci, who's like godlike, you know, he's just such an amazing guitar player. He looks so cool.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be a guitar player. And then singing kind of just came because I couldn't really find a singer.
Hey man, you gotta do what you gotta do. But
Yeah.
you know, your voice is very unique.
Oh,
and it almost reminds me of CCR, Creedence Clearwater
John
Revival.
Fogerty.
Yeah, because,
That was sick.
and the reason I say that is because his brother was originally the lead singer.
Oh.
And his
Right.
brother was like, yeah, I'm better at singing, but he said something like he's got more presence. His voice is more interesting.
Right.
Which is, like, if you think about it, it makes sense, because his voice is like, when he sings, it's not the most normal way of singing, especially for that time.
Right.
It's very unique.
They're an interesting band because I believe they're from San Francisco, but they have like a southern rock kind of sound.
Yes, they do.
But definitely rooted in blues. Definitely they know their like rock and roll history. They're awesome. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah.
He's amazing. Yeah.
You got some sort of the same thing going on. Like, it almost reminds me of like White Stripes and Black Keys.
Oh, thanks.
Because it's got that kind of folksy sound to it, in a way.
Dude, thank you. I mean, I try to, you know, having grown up and just like playing guitar, like you kind of start with obviously bands, like I said, like Nirvana and the Strokes, but then it leads you toward the blues. So you kind of like eventually start studying like the older bands, the 60s bands, you know, the Doors, like Creedence, like Dylan, John Lennon, like, and all those guys had that kind of like cool bluesy kind of raspiness, you know, that I just like looked up to,
Right.
you know,
And was
tried to do.
Now, growing up, was it always going to be music for you?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I went to college, but after college, I just immediately like started doing music.
Oh,
And
really?
So yeah.
What did you study?
I studied engineering.
Oh, wow.
Actually, yeah. Electrical engineering. Simply because like I wanted to build like guitar amps or pedals, and
Oh, wow.
I kind of dabbled in college, like building that kind of stuff, like little, you know, tiny little amps, tiny little guitar pedals, and I thought engineering would be cool. That'd be like a backup, you know.
yeah.
But the more I just started writing songs, the more I realized like I can't not do that.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
No, I get it,
Yeah, and so it's just a daily thing. Like I have to do it. So, you know, so far so good.
Yeah.
I mean, still trying.
You sort of answered this already, but which artists inspire you the most?
Obviously, yeah, I mentioned the ones that got me into music. But to this day, my top two, just hands down, are John Lennon and Bob Dylan.
Really?
Those,
Okay.
Yeah, those are the best songs.
Well, I noticed the glasses when you came in.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
Yeah.
just as far as the songwriting point of view, you know, Lennon and Dylan, those, are in my opinion, those are the two best songwriters ever. Like, and everything comes like from there. So obviously, like you get into the Beatles, you get into John Lennon, even Bob Dylan, you start to kind of like dig deeper. You learn about the blues, you learn about Robert Johnson and Woody Guthrie. Like you learn this like folk artist, country artist, Hank Williams. Like you find all the history of what inspired them, but what they did, just like lyrically, melodically, just a songwriting level is just godlike.
It's interesting to me that you haven't said Johnny Cash.
I love Johnny Cash too. I mean,
because
he's right there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because
like,
your attitude in your music and stuff like that, and on the artwork, it seems very Johnny Cash, like kind of in your face sort of thing.
Right, of course. I mean, like again, from Bob Dylan, you get artists like Johnny Cash right there. You know, like so, he's on the level for sure. I mean, I wrote Get Mine. Basically, that's like a hybrid of like Johnny Cash, like. Those old school country storytellers, they would always do things like, hey, when I was a boy, when I was young, like they kind of did that stuff. And so Get Mine was like my modern version of that.
Okay, gotcha. And so in Underdog, this is just like me picking one thing out, is there a reference to Fool on the Hill?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Totally. Yeah, you got that.
Yeah.
Oh, nice,
well, I've listened to the song like 100 times, and then at the 100th time, I'm like, oh my god, I think I just heard a reference. So
yes, totally. So that's the Beatle nod right there. Yep. Yeah. So I'm just a fool trying to keep it real. I'm just a fool sitting on a hill.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
And you just demonstrated like a different vocal range just now, just when you were kind of messing around. How did you find your specific voice? Because it's very unique. It's like different from what's out there.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
I mean. Really just kind of through trial and error.
Like was it a choice?
I mean, I listened to guys, I listened to guys like Kurt Cobain and John Lennon just to kind of like start with, and tried to first like sing like those guys, you know, and like see what they were doing. And then eventually over time, even like Julian Casablancas from the Strokes, like over time you hope that like you take a little bit from this guy, a little inspiration here, and then you become kind of your own hybrid of those, and then maybe you find your own even above that, you know, along the way.
Right.
So honestly, singing, dude, I wasn't formally trained. I didn't grow up singing. I just kind of fell into it, you know? It just came about because I was writing songs. I was trying to write lyrics and like trying to kind of attempt at, having a melody above it. So just a lot of trial and error. And then it hopefully, if you think it sounds unique, thanks, because that's what like you hope as a vocalist.
I'm not the only one that thinks that. ACHARA said the same thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely a different kind of voice.
Thank you.
And that's usually what I'm drawn to is like the different sound that's out there, because I'm so used to the same, like there's so much garbage out there that's just like the same stuff, like produced from the machine. Yeah. And like I think what drew me to yours was just that it was a breath of fresh air because it was so different.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I try on the recordings, like everything's one take. So like the vocals, I just sang it the whole song through.
Wow.
So there's no punch-ins. But that's not like to say I'm like a one-take wonder.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
You have to do it a few times, right?
Yeah.
But like I keep the best one I do.
Right.
So like I try to make sure, this is my philosophy, just to kind of sing it all the way through. If it doesn't make the cut, then you go, all right, let me just sing it all the way through again, and just pick like the best one.
Yeah.
And the new EP, like Underdog, there's no tuning or anything. Like the old stuff is a little bit of tuning here or there. I wasn't producing that, but the new one, it's just all live, like the vocals.
Gotcha.
So
now most of us start out knowing some most of us start out not knowing some disheartening truths about the industry we want to succeed in. Is there anything that has been demystified for you, or something you learn about the industry that has been a challenge to deal with?
That kind of sums up like basically like the journey these last like since whatever 4 or 5 years. Yeah. I've kind of, having played LA a lot and kind of seen a lot of different sides of the city. There's a lot of things about the music industry and celebrity and entertainment that have been like demystified for sure. There's good things. Dude, I've had random stories. Like I played for Stevie Wonder.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. At the Sayers Club. Okay, so it's this club, for those who don't know, like there's a club in Hollywood called Sayers, and it's like a speakeasy. Anyway, through whatever friends, knowing someone, Stevie Wonder was having a birthday party there. It was private. And he liked me. I did a cover of like a Buddy Holly song and a Chuck Berry song at the time in my live show. This was just back in the day. So whatever, his daughter saw it. She liked it. She invited me to come and play. So I played like a couple tunes for Stevie Wonder and his family and his band. So it was like, there was like 30 people in there, but they're all like legendary musicians and the God himself, you know, Stevie Wonder, and like that was a crazy experience. But meeting him was actually like really, he was super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just, it's like he has just like this energy about him that's just, you know, there's a reason he's that guy, you know, he's just so cool and like amazing.
What do you think of your outfit? Sorry, I had to go there.
My outfit?
Yeah, I'm just
Oh, right, of course, yeah, totally. No, he was nice. I mean, he was like, hey, you sound pretty good, man. You know, he was like kind of a higher, like, I don't know what you call it, soprano or something. But no, he was super cool. But that was, I don't know if that counts, like demystified.
Well, like for me, like working in the commercial casting industry for many years, I realized who has power.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like that kind of thing. Because going on so many auditions, you think the guy behind the camera's got all the power, and you realize that person doesn't have power. And even the casting director doesn't really have the power. It's the person above the casting director and the person above that one. And you're like, nothing I really do matters in this industry.
right,
it's
totally.
also chance, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
And that was one of the things for me. So like, I so don't care when I go into auditions now, because I'm like, it's so random. This is just like a lottery basically every time. And that's one of the things that got demystified for me. And so like, I guess I'm wondering if anything almost made you feel disheartened along the way, where you're like, God, like this right here makes it not worth it sometimes, you know?
Oh, dude, 100%. I mean, there's been a lot of those moments. You know, I've fortunately been able to work with like, you know, different producers and learn from like truly great, you know, successful people. I worked with Kevin Agunas, who did KOAY. I worked with Dave Ketching, who did Eagles of Death Metal, and then Ryan Tedder, who does all the pop stuff. And I was signed with Ryan Tedder for about 3 years. So you learn a lot in those environments, but at the same time, what you realize, there's no, in this business or whatever, there's no like magic moment. There's no golden ticket moment like Willy Wonka. You know, everything's just a slow grind, one thing at a time. You know what I mean?
No, I get you. I get you. I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, and the funny thing that people don't realize too is like, let's say you know a guy, right? You as a musician, you know like an A&R guy, and you're like close, and you go out to dinner, and he works for a label, and they're really interested in signing you, right? And then they say, okay, well, we're interested, but give us a few months, you know, we're gonna keep just looking at your progress. Like, we're gonna keep watching you, go on tour or whatever, like keep doing what you do. And then you kind of, you know, wait a few months, you hit him back, you're like, what's up, dude? Hey, so anyway, I just did everything you said, or, you know, where's the record deal? And you're like, oh shit, that guy doesn't even work here anymore.
Oh my God,
You know?
that's happened so many,
He got fired.
Yeah,
And then that's it, you know? And the whole company's like, the changeover is just, like, it's all new people.
Yeah.
So that's something, at least in the music biz, like, the changeover, like, anyone I knew like a year ago who like worked at one environment or another, they're all at different spots.
Dude, that's
you know?
that's happening more and more these days. I mean, I can relate to that because there was a company we were trying to get tight with because they keep claiming our videos. And so we interviewed the president of this company.
Yeah.
And he liked us a lot. He's like, yeah, get in touch with me. And then the person who put us in touch with him said, yeah, he's fired now. They replaced him. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And like months of pedaling towards that moment. And, you know, I get it. It's frustrating.
Yeah, it's weird. It's hard to kind of know, like, as a, you know, I'm a local musician, right? I'm playing just like local shows around town and stuff. And like, you meet a lot of different people, and it's a lot of times you meet good people, you meet fans, you meet other bands, you know, other people who are just genuine music lovers. And that is my favorite part. But you meet kind of like, let's say a celebrity happened to be there, someone or who's kind of well known or whatever, and they're a fan, and you think like, well, this is cool, but they're a lot different than what you thought they would be like, and you get confused like, hey, thanks for coming, like, you're famous, dude, can you help me? But like, they can't, you know, and you kind of don't know what to do. But some of them are cool. I mean, I did, the Stevie Wonder thing was cool. I played, I jammed, like, I went to Jeremy Piven. He had like a party like in Malibu, and I went there a couple times and like jammed with him and a few friends. Like, we were all kind of jamming, you know, the Who covers and stuff. Again, it was like just through friends, but stuff like that's kind of weird because you're like, wow, there's so many like successful people, and that's the head of this thing, and that's the guy's like so famous and that, but I'm just like still doing my little grind here, you know? Like, how do you kind of like compartmentalize all that, you know?
And it's hard because you're trying to like figure out how to take it to the next level, like using what you have at your disposal, but like you don't want to ask at the same time.
Right,
you know?
Yeah, totally.
It's awkward. Okay, so what is the biggest misconception about the music industry for you?
Oh, that there's a magical like golden ticket moment.
Oh, like we said earlier.
Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
I mean, just like everyone thinks, you hear these like stories like, can you believe, like, There was this story, it was like told for years about like Jewel. Remember the girl Jewel? She's like from the 90s or whatever, right? But everyone's like, she lived in her van, she just did coffee shop gigs, and then she got discovered or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's like a version of that for like anyone, like probably Adele has a version of that, you know, but like, it's never that. The reality is like she had a manager and he worked for like a big management agency, and then she had a booking agent and they just helped like start from the ground up. But they were all like the top people already.
Right.
Like the team was already there.
Right.
You know?
No, I agree with you. Like everyone's always trying to sell a story. They did the same thing with J.K. Rowling for Harry Potter. Like she worked out of her car. She was, you know, she was writing stories for her books after she got divorced. And it's like, I'm pretty sure it's not exactly that. Everyone loves the story. So
Billie Eilish is a good example, and like, you know, she's like an overnight success. Like, where did she come from? Out of nowhere. But it's like, no, she was, before they even started, very connected, had a great team to begin with from the ground up.
Right.
Before even like a song was finished.
Right.
You know? And that's fine. That's not a diss or anything, but that's just like, maybe you don't realize that if you're not in the music business.
Right.
You know?
So what's it like, this is something we sort of talked about before we started rolling. What's it like making rock in an era that's dominated by hip hop?
Yeah, it's challenging because I grew up listening to rock. I love rock. I play guitar. That's where my heart is, you know? But obviously, most people's ears right now are used to hip hop. They're used to trap hats. They're used to like, you know, just certain, even like from a production point of view, they're used to certain snare sounds or certain kick drums or whatever, the way things like hit. Hopefully you try to just, me as like a songwriter and producer, like I try to incorporate some of the stuff into my music.
I noticed that. Like some of the hip hop sort of sound.
Yeah, some stuff, you know, just to like, as long as it feels natural, you know, because for me, like, the thing about rock is it has to be genuine, you know, and even good rap music, like good hip hop is genuine.
Yeah.
Any artist you love in any genre, like, there's some kind of genuine quality about it, you know? I try to just bring some of that elements, or some of those elements in there, but without being like cheesy about it, or obvious, you know? There's production techniques that bands or artists will do like whenever the aesthetic changes. So I mean, like 5 years ago, like people were making alternative music, but they were throwing in the drop, like an EDM drop, like here it comes, you know, with the siren. And like now there's like, you know, rap production, like things that are very obvious you could do, but like rock, you know, you might get called out for that. You know what I mean? Like you might not be able to pull that off live. And people would see that right away. You know, and maybe not like it.
I find it frustrating, this era, because I grew up listening to rock because of my dad. He was very much into like classic rock and whatnot. And it's like all I hear on the radio is hip hop. And so that's one of the things that drew me to you, obviously, is because it's hard to find like good rock music today. Like Muse is trying, but like they're integrating a lot of synth sounds to make it modern and whatnot. And so it's like, I guess my follow-up question, I'm just improvising at this point, is do you think that rock will be around in like 20 years, or is it?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I mean, rock hasn't gone anywhere. The thing about rock, this is like a Josh Homme quote, and he's from the band Queens of the Stone Age. And he said, rock and roll is never early, it's never late, it's always right on time. Rock is something that stands the test of time. Songwriting, good melody, good lyrics, storytelling, right? These are things that like however the industry ebbs and flows, whatever's popping off in one direction or another, anything that's genuine, that's, you know, hopefully honest, you know, evoking some emotion, will survive it. I mean, look no further than a few years ago, like even, remember when Arctic Monkeys' Do I Wanna Know came out, right? Biggest song. At that time, before that song broke, everyone was saying rock is dead. And then that song came out and it was like the biggest song, like, period. It just destroyed even Drake, you know, it just like leveled it. So I think people, you know, never underestimate the power of rock or a good song to totally change things. You know, to totally just like, throw it on its head.
So on that, do you have any theories on why Get Mine hasn't become a chart smashing hit? Because I personally love the song. I think it perfectly like captures all the frustrations of this generation.
Oh, thanks, man.
And I'm like, why isn't this song more popular? Why isn't it getting more radio play? And I'm like, just wondering if the artist himself can tell me.
I mean, man, yes, I do know why. And I don't come off as like bitter, you know, I mean, management.
Okay.
Yeah, they're my managers at the time, you know.
Okay.
I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but writing a good song is one thing. You know, crafting, coming out with a really good product, you know, just as I hate the word product, sorry, just a good piece of music, a piece of art, right? Like that takes a lot of effort and hopefully a little luck and just like magic, whatever, being in the studio, like a moment, honesty, all that. So you have a good song. Everything else, you know, it kind of unfortunately just comes down to like timing, maybe a good team, you know, if you have the right people kind of in your corner, you know, kind of, and if people kind of don't have your back and aren't kind of pushing it, then, you know, it might be a little bit harder to get it. But
yeah, I like how you're navigating this, by the way.
Yeah, I don't want, I mean, you know, I don't want to come off to
no, I get
out
it.
there. I don't want to come off as like bitter. Like I'm grateful for, you know, what Get Mine has done. I'm grateful that it brought us together, that people are hearing it. Like, you know, I love that song, and I can still literally picture exactly where I was on my bed, completely broke, writing that thing. You know, eating food like dinner at the gas station, like. I couldn't even go to like Carl's Jr. or whatever. Like I had to go to the gas station to buy like little snacks and stuff, you know, right when I wrote that song. And so like that song is the most just kind of, it just came out like so quick too, because I was just trying to be as honest as possible. Yeah. You know, that song was literally written, you know, in like 15 minutes.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and that's not like bragging like I'm that prolific, but it's like,
well, something inspires you.
Yeah, because I was working on other songs for so long that I was just like, I cut the BS and I just like spoke my mind. And that came out, you know? Yeah. Optimistically, hey, the song's still out there. Yeah. You know, if it's still relevant to this day, great. Like, I hope people discover it. I hope it takes off, you know? Like,
it's just funny because every time I show that song to someone, like it happened with her and happened with another friend of mine where I watched them listen to the song and I could see that face, like, wow, wow, like that same thing, the same thing that happened to me, I can see it happen to them, and so it's just interesting. It's a fascinating experience, that song. How did it get picked up for Far Cry?
That was through I had a pub deal at the time, and that was just through the publisher who knew someone, and they were like, we were pitching songs like constantly, and just like luck of the draw, like syncs, things like that, like licenses. It's like a cattle call, right? It's just like, maybe this song will work, maybe that song will work, maybe this, you know? And you think like, you ever watch TV shows and you're like, man, even if it's not my music, you know, watching a show and they put a song in there, like, man, I know a song that would be better for that scene. Yeah. You know, not even one of mine, but just like, they didn't nail it, right? The emotion. So it's just luck of the draw and kind of, again, writing a good song, hoping that it fits in the right context, you know? I mean, Get Mine is, you know, I pitched that song for a lot of different things, and it was mostly turned down. People thought the song was too negative.
Really?
Yeah. So many people like in the industry and in like the TV world or in the sync world, they were just like, the lyrics are way too negative. It's a downer. Nobody's gonna like relate to that. It's just such a downer. You should make something happy and upbeat.
I think I've heard the song at least like 200 times.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, like I put on like my favorite Davis songs while I'm working out, and I just play it over and over, like the same 5 songs over and over again.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a frustrating thing. You know, like you get a lot of feedback from people inside the industry, like gatekeepers or, you know, people who can help you like get a song on TV or whatever. And they're usually just kind of spewing out a formula like that's working at that moment right then for them, you know? And so yeah, Get Mine, it's funny, like I got a lot of people in the industry just like did not like Get Mine. They thought it was too real.
That's crazy.
I mean, they say the weirdest things. Too down as a downer, as a negative, is too real. And I was like, dude, I have like less than $100 in my checking account, like no furniture, like I'm on with an acoustic guitar. What else am I gonna sing about? You know, I can just be honest and hope that like there's other people who are like, yeah, I relate to that. Yeah. You know, 'cause I'm a naturally like optimistic guy, but if I'm writing music, I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah, no, it's funny you should say that, because like when you came through the door, I was like, this guy's so like, you were so clearly an optimist in just your in your demeanor. I was like, this is the guy that wrote Get Mine? This is so crazy. Like,
well, see, now the new EP is like a lot, you know, I'm a lot happier these days. I think, maybe because it's summer, you know, I just like, I don't know, the weather's you know, it's warmer, the days are longer. I'm just like happier right now. Yeah. You know? Yeah. I'm still broke, but like, who cares? I just stopped caring about money. Yeah. You know?
How long does it take you to come up or craft a song, and how long does it take you to produce a song?
Yeah, so.
Like, obviously Get Mine's an exception, but like on average, how long does it take you to like form a song and then produce it? Obviously those are two separate things.
Totally, so like my process is gonna be different than any other artist probably, but the good songs, the songs I eventually put out, they usually only take 10 minutes to write.
Wow. Okay.
But, and there's a big but, that's usually, they come as a release after spending months grinding and trying to craft other songs that don't work.
Right.
So like, for example, like, All Right, the lead single off the new EP. That song took 10 minutes to write. But I was working on 10 songs before that for months that just weren't falling into place. So like, eventually I'm just like sitting down with the guitar and I'm just singing the first thing that comes to mind. And maybe they're lyrics that are from some of those rough ideas and they just kind of finally fall into place. So my process is like, months of mediocrity, things like not working, and then all of a sudden something happens. And I'm like, great, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And then
that's actually refreshing to hear.
Yeah,
that's
really
very refreshing to hear because I think a lot of people think that it's just like genius and you come up with it and it's like, oh, no, if you didn't write something immediately, because like some people get into something and expect amazing results right away, and they don't realize that it takes a lot of grinding before you get to the thing that you're ready to put out there.
Totally.
It's a lot of hard work.
You have to be hard on yourself because as a songwriter or whatever, it's really hard to be objective because if you make something, your natural instinct is to be like, this is great, I made it. Look, everyone. But you want to give people hopefully the absolute best possible thing you can make. As an artist, like just because if you can whip out a song doesn't mean it's a good song.
Right.
It means you did it.
Right.
And there's a little bit of that factor, like, people, oh yeah, you did it, like a recital, you made a song. But like, it doesn't mean it's necessarily like your best song.
Right.
And it's only up to you as an artist, as a songwriter, to decide what is your best song. What cuts the BS and gets right to the core of the emotion you're trying to get across.
Right.
So like, I wrote All Right, after kind of a very just roller coaster ride for a couple years of like really highs and lows, expectations, signing deals and then they not falling through and then like, oh, but this is gonna be the one, and like not happening, things like just such a roller coaster ride that whatever, it just was like life ain't nothing but a roller coaster, it just kind of like came out. The production usually takes the longest. I mean, it takes like, over a month to kind of just like get all the sounds right, get everything down. It's like, it's almost half creative, half science, that's a whole different, songwriting is just, hopefully just speak from the heart, like just get it out. But production, there's a lot of like technical stuff that goes into that. Almost maybe like video editing. There's like that aspect. So it kind of takes a while. Yeah. But
I'm glad you appreciate that.
That's almost like why, so not to keep rambling, but like that's almost why I try to make sure I have the best possible songs. Like I'm stoked on my song just from a strum and guitar level, because then I'll be like, okay, this is worth spending a month on production. Right. Going into the studio, grinding out, hearing like 10,000 mixes,
What does your family think of your music?
My parents really like All Right.
That's very specific.
They like, I know that.
Yeah.
Okay, my parents still have a CD player in their car, right? So I had to burn them a CD. I had to figure out how to do that. Like or whatever. Get the old laptop out, burn them the EP, the new EP. And they liked it all, but I know for a fact they just play All Right over and over. Okay. Like they haven't said anything about like Underdog or Pro Tools. I don't know how they feel about those, but I think my mom liked America. She liked that song. She thought it was really pretty, really beautiful, she said, musically. But
are your parents like, are they more like you, or are they more like conservative types? I'm just like,
no, they're hippies, man.
Okay.
They're out there.
Okay.
My dad was a professor. He has a PhD, and they're academic people, and they're just so like, they studied in Europe and traveled around, and they're just like so like against like materialism and all. They're just like hippies, Okay. They're proud of me. They're super supportive. I know they love All Right, but I can't. Like anyone, do family or not, like I can't expect everyone to love every single song.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know they're proud of me, which is cool, and they support it. But
you directly mention them and Get Mine.
I do, and they were okay with that. They know there's other songs too. I've mentioned them even in a gnarlier way, but like it's at first, when I first started singing and making songs and maybe talking about my childhood, it was awkward, right? Yeah. But like at dinner, chats or whatever, but like they'd be like, so you said this about us, like but that didn't happen, you know, in their eyes or whatever. But
Yeah.
now it's all cool. I mean, it's all peace and love. Like,
Yeah.
they're cool with it all. They know I'm just trying to do my best to kind of like create art and be honest and like the way I see it, you know?
Yeah.
It's cool. You just hope that it connects with anyone. I mean, whether it's your parents or your brother. My brother's the harshest critic. My older brother, like, you know, he teased me ever since I was little. Nobody could say, no comment on YouTube, no person at a show, like yelling out in the audience. No one could say anything harsher than my older brother has already said to me, you know, like growing up. Just like he's the typical older brother, like sun me at every chance, you know?
Yeah.
But now we're cool, it's all good.
Have any of the people you've sung about, like ex-girlfriends or anything like that, have you heard their opinion about you singing about them? Or I imagine there was an ex-girlfriend you sung about, because like, and especially in Get Mine, there was like a very overt reference to someone like.
Oh yeah, that person, that could be a sum of a couple people. But no, they're not listening. They don't listen to my music.
Okay.
They don't even like music, you know?
Okay.
They asked me, there was one girl I dated just for like a little bit that was like, this was like right at the time I graduated college and I was gonna do music, right? And they were like, so why are you gonna do music? Like, you know, why wouldn't you do something like, I think she said like, why wouldn't you do something like more honorable or more like charitable, like go, you know, help people build houses or help people less fortunate than you, or like something crazy, like real like out there stuff. And I was like, I don't know, because I like music. Like, you know, it's simple as that.
Yeah.
But no one's hey, it's life, man. Unfortunately, I've definitely maybe burned a couple bridges with the lyrics, you know?
You know, I get it, dude.
There's certain people, they will never say it, but I know they've heard it and I know they know it's about them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to just be a hater. It's like, everything I'm writing about is like, it really happens. You know, like these people have said, I've used quotes like Pro Tools. Okay, here's an example, not just to keep plugging the new EP, but
it's fine, man.
the song Pro Tools, if anybody listens, literally Pro Tools is an entire list of quotes that were told to me by people in the music industry over the years.
Wow.
Okay, so for example, like, you know, get plays on Spotify. You know, you really got to get plays on Spotify. That's told to me. Like, we'll do a blog campaign. It'll cost you $1,000. If that doesn't work, you know, we'll try to go to radio and hope like people are still listening to radio. You know, make sure it's the brand, build the brand, you know, change your name, like, you know, make sure you have a strong social media presence. Like, I'm quoting literally the lyrics in the song, but these were told to me like over and over,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If those people are listening to that song, like throughout, like there's certain people that might know I'm talking about them.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
And what's it like for you when you see how inspiring your music is, how it makes people feel, and when you see it used in videos, like the one I made, for instance, like
I love it.
How does that make you feel?
I love it, man. I love what you did. I love all, just the editing was amazing. The fact that you saw like a unique visual with like a piece of my music, you know, and we've never met before. Like, that's just awesome, dude. I think like, if anyone's inspired by what I do, that's the goal. Yeah. Like, I love that, man. And like, thank you, you know, by the way, like for everything you've done to support me and my music. I can't thank you enough. Like, I really appreciate that. Thank you to, you know, all your fans who've definitely come. I've seen the comments on my channel, you know, who just like come from literally your channel and said, Jaby, put this, I love this, like, thank you, you know, and now they're subscribing to me, so thanks, man. Like,
yeah, that makes me happy. Awesome. That makes me happy. I've gone to your songs and I'm like, okay, is anyone here from my channel? You know? And that makes me happy.
No, your fans are awesome, man. I mean, like, they've been super cool. Like, their comments are rad. Like, one guy he was like, I don't know, he said the other day, Haley, remember, he was like, greetings from Russia. Wait, can you curse or no?
You can curse.
Okay, he's like, greetings from Russia, like, fuck the politics, peace, you know? And I was like, he's like, I love this. And I was like, great, this guy's awesome, you know? I think he found me through you, but like, I just, dude, I'm stoked, thank you.
Yeah, and so this is the last question, it's the obvious one. What's your advice to anyone who's looking to become a professional musician?
Yeah, write your own songs.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, just do it. Write every single day.
Yeah.
Write music every single day, practice every single day, hone your craft as much as possible. Yeah. Like, I'm not famous, I'm not super successful, but the guys I look up to, you know, even as old as Bob Dylan and John Lennon to like modern guys, you know, like Danger Mouse or whatever, who's a producer, right? Like, or you said Jack White, you know, like these guys write and work at music every single day.
Yeah.
And they practice every single day.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice. You know, it's just like, keep going. Work as hard as you think you possibly can, and then the next day up it and work even harder.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just at sitting down with your instrument and like, you know, trying to come up with lyrics, melodies, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like my advice, because that's what I do. I write a song every single day.
Wow.
They're not all great.
Yeah.
You know, that's the difference. Like, they're not all bangers.
Yeah.
But like, hopefully you get, you know, you learn something. Go, okay, that song's not that good. Why? Okay, I learned something. Like maybe this song will be better. Maybe this song will be better. You know?
Yeah.
So that's my advice. Just keep writing.
Check out Davis on his YouTube channel, on his Instagram, on all the stuff, the artwork and whatnot going on Instagram is crazy. And yeah, you can find all of the links to his music in the description below.
2,000 light years far away from home. Pack up the gear, let's get the show on the road. Might be a fool, but you know I believe there's a horizon calling to me. Keep on moving, gotta get closer. Take this weight from off of my shoulder. If a storm should come down upon me, Lord, don't slow me down. 'Cause whether it's a hurricane or it's a tidal wave, whatever come my way, you know I'm not afraid. 'Cause I'm the underdog, just like I've always been. You knock me down and I just get back up again and again. I thought I told you that I wasn't a soldier. I thought I told you that I wasn't a poser. I'm just a fool, trying to keep it real. I'm just a fool, sitting on a hill. Keep on moving, gotta get closer. Take this weight from off of my shoulder. If a storm should come down upon me, oh Lord, don't you slow me down at all. 'Cause whether it's a hurricane or it's a tidal wave, whatever come my way, you know I'm not afraid. 'Cause I'm the underdog, just like I've always been. You knock me down and I just get back up again and again. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And it's good to be back again. Back, good to be back, good to be back, good to be back again. Be back, good to be back, good to be back, good to be. Whether it's a hurricane or it's a tidal wave, whatever come my way, you know I'm not afraid. 'Cause I'm the underdog, just like I've always been. You knock me down and I just get back up again and again. Good to be back, good to be back, good to be back, good to be back again. Be back, good to be back, good to be back, good to be back again.
Thanks, guys.
Nice job. Yeah,
Yay.
sounded good. High five.
Another high five. Awesome.